everybody, so in this video I want to talk about KPIs. Now you must have heard the term key performance indicators, but what are they really? What makes a good one? And just as importantly, what makes a bad one? So let's imagine you set up a business. You want the business to be successful, but how do you actually know if it's successful? Well, the obvious answer could be things like sales and profit, right? How much are you actually selling? How much money is actually going in the bank? Then you could look at things like your spending, your wages, your materials, your day-to-day operations. But once you start drilling down, the list of things you could be measuring, it quickly explodes. Sales, cost, quality, delivery, people, and the list goes on and on. Now, all of them matter, but they can't all be treated as equally important at the same time. So the real question that you have to ask, what the real question becomes is, if you can't track everything, how do you decide which numbers really matter? You see, good KPIs are chosen by asking one simple question. If this number moves in the wrong direction, would I change a decision or would I make a new decision? And if the answer is no, then it's not a good KPI. If my sales figure suddenly takes a dive, I want to quickly act on that to correct it. But if the number of internal meetings goes up, or if it goes down, probably wouldn't change anything. Interest information, what would I change? But another important point is that KPIs are not fixed in stone. They change depending on the situation the business is facing. If customer complaints suddenly rise, leadership may shift focus towards quality-related metrics, for example. So who decides which KPIs to measure? Well, it's the leadership, because they are the ones with the authority to make the most impactful decisions. And this leads to the most important characteristic of KPIs and what it really is. You see, a key performance indicator is a decision amplifier. You see, leadership chooses the signal and the KPI amplifies it. The idea is problems become visible earlier and decisions can be taken before issues become expensive or irreversible that can't be changed. But there's more to a good KPI than just that. You see, it must also be easy to understand. If people can't explain it, they can't really act on it. It must be understood by everybody in the company. It also has to be an objective measure. Now, to give you an example, concepts like employee happiness, they may matter, but how can you actually really define that? Now, another thing is a KPI has to move at the same pace as the decisions it drives. If it updates too slowly, it can't support timely actions. And the other thing, and this is an important one, KPIs shouldn't be difficult to measure. You shouldn't need an army of bureaucratic people putting these numbers together. Either you simplify the metrics or you automate the metrics, but you don't want a complicated, labor-intensive number. Now, here's a critical one that's often missed. And this is where many companies fall down on looking at KPIs in isolation. So let's imagine leadership sets a cost reduction KPI. The team is suddenly missing their target, so the pressure increases to hit that number. So they start cutting materials, testing, supplier controls, anything that can reduce cost fast. Now on paper now, the KPI is suddenly improving. Leadership is happy. But then at the same time, or maybe a bit later, quality metrics start to spike. Complaints rise, scrap rework rise. 6 to 9 months later, the quality numbers look a disaster. So in reality, you didn't improve the business, you just shifted the problem. And the danger is sometimes there's a lag, there's a latency. If you make a bad KPI that impacts another, you might not see for 6 to 9 months later. You see, it's really important. Don't consider KPIs individually or fighting each other. They have to be system level. So what do bad KPIs look like? Well, one clear sign is if a KPI goes red and everyone starts arguing about the number instead of fixing the problem, that's a bad one. Another one is how easily can it be manipulated? Let's, for example, tasks completed per week. Well, that can be obviously changed. You can bundle the tasks or not. So it's really important that it's a robust number that can't be manipulated, even by purpose or by accident. Another aspect that's often overlooked is how often KPIs are reviewed and refreshed. You see, if they're not maintained, dashboards become super bloated. And when everything's a KPI, in reality, nothing's a KPI. So it's really important that you have a limited number of KPIs. So really, to end this short discussion, KPIs, they may be everywhere in business. We've all been impacted in them. But when you really look at them, you realize how critical it is to design them and choose them very carefully, because they impact and can shape a business for better or for worse. So I hope you enjoyed this short video. I'm going to probably do a few more videos on this topic. And if you got this far, thanks for watching.